Remember summer evenings in 1961, when every front yard was full of children and the whole neighborhood felt like family? Today, those same yards sit empty behind 6-foot privacy fences. What happened to the American front yard? And why did we lock ourselves away? It's 1961, a Tuesday evening in June. Maple Street, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The sun hangs low at 7:30, painting the street golden. Every front yard is alive. The corner house has the biggest yard, 8 children playing kickball. Not just one family's children, kids from 5 different houses, ages 6 to 14, all mixed together. Nobody asked permission, nobody scheduled a play date. The children just appeared after dinner, like they did every evening. A mother sits on her front porch with iced tea, watching from a distance, but not hovering. The rules are understood. Stay where you can be seen, come when called, be home when the streetlights come on. That's it. 3 simple rules. Enough freedom for childhood to happen. Next door, a father trims his hedge. No fence separates his yard from the neighbors. Just a low hedge, maybe 2 feet tall. He can see the children playing. He glances up periodically, keeping an eye on the neighborhood kids the way everyone does. If a child's parent was looking for them, someone would know where they were. The neighborhood functioned as one extended, watchful presence. Across the street, a sprinkler runs in another front yard. 5 kids running through it, fully clothed, shrieking with joy. Not all from the same family. The sprinkler belongs to everyone. A mother had brought out popsicles earlier, handed them to whatever children were nearby. Nobody worried about allergies or asked for parent permission first. A popsicle cost a nickel. Sharing was simply what neighbors did. The street itself serves as playground. Kickball happens right on the asphalt. When a car approaches, maybe one every 15 minutes, the kids scatter to the sides. The driver slows. Everyone knows the routine. The car passes at 5 miles per hour. The game resumes immediately. Nobody honks. Nobody calls the police about children in the street. This is just how neighborhoods work in 1961. 3 houses down, an elderly man sits in his lawn chair. He's 76, lives alone since losing his wife. But he's not isolated. Children stop by constantly. He keeps a bowl of hard candies on his porch table, root beer barrels and butterscotch. The kids know they can take one, but only one. He watches them play, tells stories about the old days. The children actually listen, at least sometimes. Respect for elders is still taught, still practiced. The front porches are occupied, not just the elderly man. 3 houses have multiple generations sitting outside. Grandmothers in rocking chairs, parents in metal lawn chairs, teenagers with transistor radios trying to find the baseball game. Everyone's outside. The front yard and porch aren't just landscaping, they're living spaces. The real center of the home during summer months. But the biggest difference isn't what you see, it's what you don't see. Look at the yards themselves. No fences, none. Up and down Maple Street, 40 houses, and you can see from one end of the block to the other. Low hedges exist maybe. Some flower borders mark property lines, but no privacy fences, no 6-foot wooden barriers, no locked gates, no keep out signs. The yards flow into each other like one continuous shared space, and that's exactly how they're treated. The children roam freely. One minute a child plays in one yard, the next minute 3 yards down. Nobody minds. Nobody worries about liability. Nobody calls it trespassing. The front yards belong to the community in an unspoken way. Your property line exists on paper, but in practice, the neighborhood is one big safe zone for children. The parents barely watch. That sounds shocking today, but in 1961, it's normal. A mother glances out the window every 20 minutes. That's supervision. She can hear the children. If someone got hurt, she'd hear the crying. If a stranger appeared, someone would notice. The neighborhood itself is the supervision. 40 pairs of adult eyes, all casually watching without helicoptering. It works. Cost of this lifestyle? Essentially free. The yards themselves are simple. Grass, maybe some bushes. No elaborate landscaping. No irrigation systems. A push mower costs $20. That's it. No lawn service, no landscape architect. Father mows on Saturday morning, takes 40 minutes, done for the week. The social fabric costs nothing. No organized activities, no sports leagues charging $200 per season, no scheduled playdates requiring parent coordination. Children simply go outside. They find each other. They invent games. Baseball, kickball, tag, hide and seek, bikes, roller skates. The entertainment is free and self-organizing. But here's what nobody in 1961 realizes. This is about to end. Within 20 years, the American front yard will transform completely, and it starts with something nobody expects. Fast forward, today, the same street. Maple Street, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Tuesday evening in June, 7:30 p.m. The sun hangs at the same angle, but the street is silent. The yards are empty, completely empty. No children, no adults, no life, just grass. Perfectly manicured, professionally maintained grass. And fences. 6-foot privacy fences surround nearly every yard. Solid wood, no gaps. You cannot see from one yard to another. Each property is isolated, separated, walled off. The corner house where 8 children played kickball in 1961 now has a privacy fence and a locked gate. The front yard sits empty. The grass is perfect, cut by a lawn service every Thursday at 9 a.m. Cost $85 per visit, $1,100 per year. The lawn has never been played on. It exists to look nice. That's its only function. No children are visible anywhere. Not in the yards, not in the street. 0. On a summer evening at 7:30, prime outdoor time, not a single child can be seen on Maple Street. They're inside. 73% of American children now spend less than 1 hour per day outside. In 1961, that number was less than 10%. Where are they? Inside on devices, tablets, phones, gaming systems, computers. The average child in today spends 7 hours per day on screens. In 1961, TV was limited, and even that was maybe 2 hours per evening. Today's children live primarily in digital spaces, not physical neighborhoods. The parents are inside too. A mother works from home in the former dining room, now a home office. She can't see the front yard from there. Not that it matters, since her children aren't allowed outside unsupervised anyway. Too dangerous, she believes. Stranger danger, kidnappers, traffic, liability. The fear is everywhere now. In 1961, parents worried about their children getting skinned knees. In today, parents worry about abduction, lawsuits, and child protective services. A child playing alone in a front yard in today might result in a call to authorities. Police have responded to reports of unsupervised children who were simply playing in their own yards. Parents have been investigated for letting kids walk alone to a park 2 blocks away. The neighbor who once trimmed his hedge while keeping an eye on neighborhood kids? His equivalent in today stays in his backyard, behind his privacy fence. The front yard is just for show. He's back there with his grill and his patio furniture, isolated from the street. He doesn't know his neighbors' names. He's lived on Maple Street for 6 years. He can name maybe 2 families. That's it. The sprinkler that once delighted 5 children from different families? There is no sprinkler in today. The yard has an underground irrigation system that runs at 5 a.m. Cost to install, $4,000. Nobody sees it operate. Nobody plays in it. The grass must be perfect because the HOA enforces lawn standards. Brown patches result in violation notices and fines. The street itself is empty of play. No kickball games. Actually, there are no playing in street signs posted at both ends of the block, installed by the HOA in 2019. Liability concerns, insurance requirements. One family tried to let their kids play street hockey in 2022. They received a cease and desist letter. The street is for cars only now, even though traffic remains light. The elderly man who once sat on his porch with candy? His equivalent in today stays inside. Too hot, he says, but really there's no reason to sit outside, no children to watch, no neighbors to greet, nobody walks by. The front porch has furniture, expensive wicker furniture from Pottery Barn, $1,200 for the set, but it's never used. It's decorative. The actual living happens in the backyard or inside. 3 generations sitting on porches, gone completely. Grandma lives in a senior community 30 miles away. She rarely visits. Traffic is too stressful. The parents spend evenings inside, watching streaming TV or scrolling phones. The teenagers are in their rooms, doors closed, on social media. The family occupies the same house but separate spaces. The front porch has been converted to a mudroom behind a locked front door. The porches themselves have changed. Many houses on Maple Street no longer have functional front porches. They have small concrete stoops, just big enough to stand while unlocking the door. Nobody sits there, nobody waves to passing neighbors. The front of the house is simply the entrance, not a living space. And those 40 houses with visible yards flowing together. Now, 40 separate fortresses, each yard isolated behind its fence. The visual effect is dramatic. In 1961, you could stand at one end of Maple Street and see down the entire block. Houses, yards, hedges, people. In today, you see fence, 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 fence. Wooden privacy fences, vinyl fences, chain link with privacy slats, an unbroken wall of barriers. Nobody roams anymore. The concept of children moving freely between yards is not just discouraged, it's prevented. The fences physically block access, the gates are locked. Even if they weren't, the liability paranoia would stop it. A child injured in someone else's yard could mean a lawsuit. Better to eliminate the possibility entirely. The cost of this isolation? Much higher than the simple setup of 1961. The average privacy fence for a front yard runs $3,000 to $6,000 to install. Maintenance every 5 to 7 years adds another $1,000. The professionally maintained lawn costs $1,100 yearly. The irrigation system needs repairs averaging $300 annually. But the real cost isn't money. It's community. It's childhood. It's the loss of the neighborhood as a living, connected ecosystem. The question nobody wants to ask: are we safer? Child abduction rates have not increased significantly since 1961. In fact, child injury rates are lower overall. The perception of danger increased dramatically, but the actual danger didn't. We built the fences to protect children from threats that remain statistically tiny. And in doing so, we isolated them from something that was genuinely important: community. What changed? Several things all at once. Cable news in the 1980s began covering child abduction cases nationally. Cases that once stayed local became national traumas. The perception of risk skyrocketed even as actual risk remained stable. Parents began keeping children inside. Lawsuits increased. By the 1990s, liability paranoia infected neighborhoods. If a child was hurt in your yard, you could be sued. Better to fence off the property, better to eliminate the risk. The lawyers and insurance companies effectively ended the open neighborhood. HOAs expanded. In 1961, homeowners associations barely existed. By today, 65% of new homes are in HOA communities. These organizations enforce uniformity, privacy fences, and restrictions on children playing in common areas. The community is managed like a business, not lived like a neighborhood. Technology provided an alternative. Why send kids outside when they have video games, tablets, and streaming content? The digital world offered safe, controlled, parent-supervised entertainment. It seemed like a good idea. The unintended consequence: children who never learned to play independently, never developed neighborhood friendships, never experienced unsupervised outdoor time. Both parents working became necessary. In 1961, one income could support a family. By today, 2 incomes are required for most families. Nobody's home during the day. Nobody's sitting on porches at 7 p.m. because everyone just got home, exhausted. The schedule doesn't allow for casual porch sitting. The front yard became decorative because nobody had time to live in it. The culture shifted from trust to fear. In 1961, the default assumption was that neighbors were helpful and children were safe. By today, the default assumption reversed: strangers are dangerous and children are constantly at risk. We built fences, literal and metaphorical, to match that fear. So which is better? The open front yards of 1961 or the private fortresses of today? The answer isn't simple. 1961 had its problems. Less supervision meant more injuries, less diversity in many neighborhoods, more pressure to conform. Today has achieved some improvements: better safety equipment, more awareness of real dangers, more diversity. But something important was lost. The front yard used to be where childhood happened, where neighbors became friends, where community existed in daily casual interactions. Today, it's empty green space behind a locked fence. We gained privacy. We lost community. Whether that trade was worth it, you decide. If you remember those days, share your memories. What street did you grow up on? What games did you play? Did you know your neighbors' names? Because those stories matter. That world is gone, but remembering it keeps something alive. When America was simpler, the front yard belonged to everyone.